रीजन, ठीक है। दूसरा जो होता है वो इनडायरेक्ट रीजन होता है। इनडायरेक्ट रीजन क्या होता है कि उसका डायरेक्ट रीजन कुछ और है, राइट, और उसके रीजन का रीजन वो है जो रीजनिंग में दिया। दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस, फाइन। दैट इज व्हाई जस्ट डूइंग क्वेश्चन इज नॉट इनफ। क्वेश्चन को डिजाइन करने के पीछे क्या इंटेंट है वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट। लाइव कर दिया? कौन है एक बार दिखाना मुझे। ओके, लेखाश्री, ओके, whatever, whosoever is joining, we have not done anything much because of some electricity issue. Fine, so we have done 2 questions which your friends will share to you. ग्रुप में शेयर कर देंगे, ठीक है। So assertion reasoning was the discussion we were doing. If assertion is correct, reasoning is correct, then go for it. If either of them is not correct, obviously in the first instance you will know कि मुझे क्या ऑप्शन टिक करना है, ठीक है। सेकंड लेवल वही है कि भाई assertion जो है करेक्ट है, लेकिन असर्शन का रीजनिंग डायरेक्ट कुछ और है। इनडायरेक्ट रीजनिंग इज द आर, राइट। सो असर्शन विल हैव अ रीजन, राइट। इस रीजन का जो रीजनिंग दिया है वो इस रीजन का रीजन है, राइट। तो इसका ये रीजन नहीं होगा, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज इट इज द एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ इट्स रीजन। तो इसकी जो रीजनिंग होगी उसका जो रीजनिंग है वो दिया हुआ है, राइट। सो दे डेवलप दीज काइंड ऑफ रीजनिंग्स दैट कि भाई जो रीजन है उसका इंप्लाइड रीजन दिया हुआ है, तो डायरेक्टली दैट इज नॉट अ रीजन फॉर दिस, इट इज इनडायरेक्टली अ रीजन फॉर दिस, राइट। तो ये रीजनिंग किसके लिए रीजन है, इसके लिए रीजन है, ठीक है। तो इसको, इस रीजनिंग को अगर हमने लिखा उसका असर्शन ये होगा, ये नहीं होगा। ये समझ में आया? तो ऐसे भी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, ठीक है। दूसरा आती है कि भाई 2 स्टेटमेंट्स आर गिवन, दोनों असर्शन है, कोई भी टेक्निकली रीजन नहीं है एक दूसरे का। So when you say it is not the reason, they are independently correct. That means there are 2 assertions given, not assertion and reason, right? That is how they manipulate the question. Fine, ठीक है, चलो, let's go then. You have to finish our task. ठीक है। कुछ technicalities we had just written about the Article 20, right? So before that, you write few technicalities, लिखो। अब यहां से आपके MCQs बनेंगे जो मैं बता रहा हूं। Shall we use white? Let's see. Oh, really, it's done. White use करते हैं, तुम्हारा भी। Oh. डल है? Then it will be bright. White is visible to you? Somebody has changed the brightness, I think. No, is it visible to you or not?
Black are translucent. Top is not.
This part? You're getting the...
2 lights are visible. Like reflection is not.
Obviously, but you just see whether it is visible to you or not. If I write here. लेखश्री विजिबल है कि नहीं बताओ? तुम्हें नहीं आ रहा रिफ्लेक्शन? ऊपर आ रहा होगा, ठीक है, इट्स ओके, कोई बात नहीं। इफ वी यूज दिस लाइट देन वी कैन यूज व्हाइट, अदरवाइज वी कैन नॉट यूज व्हाइट। सो इट्स बेटर कि तुम ब्लैक ही देखो, कोई बात नहीं। नहीं, ठीक है। सी फॉर वीडियोस, फॉर पीपल हु आर वाचिंग, व्हेन यू सी द वीडियो ऑनलाइन, देन वी आर डूइंग इट फॉर दैट, कि देन यू शुड नॉट फील ब्लर्ड, है ना, क्योंकि इफ यू लुक इट फॉर लॉन्ग आवर्स ऑफ टाइम, द लाइटिंग शुड बी प्रॉपर। But the problem is that if we are using one particular board color, then the setting is different. So most of the people who are using PPTs or whiteboards, for them they put lights in a different way. If the board color is even, the screen color changes, the light setting should change, right? Otherwise, though I don't use PPT, so for me this is the best form, right? It doesn't matter to me. तो मैं टेबल लैंप में भी पढ़ा लूंगा, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। Obviously, my subject is not that. Obviously, technical subjects require PPTs. Right? Visualization is important. Fine, but I would ask them they can play videos also instead of just giving the image. Image तो आप PDF में दे सकते हो, right? समझाने के लिए आप videos use कर लो सीधे. Fine. Now see. So we had अब some कुछ technical facts आप लिखो. 20K, 20 से नहीं, जो भी हमने अभी तक किया है, right? 20 आपने लिखा, no problem. Just below that you write some technical facts till now. हाँ, सिर्फ तुमने लिखा था ना, कोई बात नहीं, वहीं पे लिखो। some useful technical facts for PYQ. Fine, for every topic we'll do it. Like I told you, citizenship और उसके लिए भी करेंगे, but पहले वो basic समझ में आ गया हो तो ठीक है. Fine, we'll write. So for everything we'll do, don't worry. जो वो क्वेश्चन में पूछते हैं वो सब हमारे पास ऑलरेडी लिखा होगा. बट पहले मैं चाहता हूँ कि एक बार यू अंडरस्टैंड द लॉजिक ऑफ एंटायर all the topics, not obviously mains type, right? But still conceptually you should know everything. Then we'll go for that technical कि ये क्या पूछ सकते हैं, right? Who is appointed by the president? Who is removed by the president? यही पूछते हैं ना, और क्या पूछते हैं, right? The speaker can initiate this bill while the parliament is in motion. If parliament is not in motion or Lok Sabha is not in session, then who can? यही होता है. Who can introduce the bill? राज्यसभा can introduce. Common sense है. उसका कोई यूटिलिटी नहीं है, बट राज्यसभा फिर भी बिल को इनिशिएट कर सकती है. Are you understanding? अभी अंडरस्टैंड, डोंट वरी, राइट? मुझे यूपीएससी के पूरी औकात पता है, हर चीज. Fine. So if I was little sincere, I would have topped the exam. There was nobody who could have beaten me. वाजीराम का मैंने एक टेस्ट दिया था, उस समय वही था पॉपुलर. 400 students wrote the test, right? I topped the test. I got 119 out of 120 in PubAd. और जो मेरे सेकंड वाला था, he got 92. So they all wanted to see me. ये कौन है जिसने 118 नंबर लेके आ गया है? The teacher was astonished. I don't know who was the teacher. I was only giving the test. So he got threatened कि who is the student? ये 118 कैसे ले आया मेरे टेस्ट में? Right? And I did it consistently for 6 tests. Then I gave synergy test. That time he had started teaching. Monty sir. उनके भी टेस्ट टॉप किया. And he said after 5-6 tests he said you should not. You don't. It's okay. You are prepared already. So we were not like that students. We were not. Casual chalta type student. If we were doing anything, we were doing it with whatever was possible. फिर हम उसको एकदम जो होता है ग्रेवयार्ड लेवल पे करते थे, मतलब लिटरली ये तो मरेंगे या करेंगे. The only drawback happened is that I could not sense that exam requires an above average expression. I started writing answers of the level of editorials because I was prejudiced by the idea that this is the highest exam of the world, toughest exam of the country, right? And I started writing that way. What you see, my version now is almost 70% of what I was. फिर मैंने उसको रिड्यूस किया पढ़ाने के लिए, फिर और लिखने के लिए. तो थर्ड और फोर्थ मेंस में मैंने उसको मॉडिफाई किया. No. My writing was like maybe a normal person would not even understand. That was how I used to write. So if I would express Simon, that was probably one of the highest level of expression possible. The terminology, the vocabulary, the analysis. But I got marks in that. Fine, PubAd, 187 and 180. 187 paper 1, 180 paper 2 out of 600, 367. 328 first attempt, 306, 328, 335, then 367. Sociology I never studied, obviously. That was a drawback, mistake I made. पहले physics पढ़ा, फिर geography पढ़ा, फिर sociology पढ़ा. So sociology, because of that, I missed. And still I cleared mains every time. In spite of getting 267, 269, 270 in sociology. But see, you have to understand the nature of exam. This is a mistake most of. I'm not saying I was the only one. There were so many people, obviously as hardworking, brilliant, whatever. But most of us do not understand the nature of exam. हमें लगता है कि हम इतने एक्सीलेंस में आ जाएं कि हमें कोई मना ही ना कर सके, लेकिन एग्जाम वो नहीं है. एग्जाम पोटेंशियली, राइट, पोटेंशियली स्मार्ट लोगों को ढूंढता है. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि दे आर वेरी स्मार्ट एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. इट लुक्स फॉर पोटेंशियल कि इसको स्मार्ट बनाया जा सकता है, नहीं बनाया सकता. सो समटाइम्स if you are too, I would not say brilliant, but if you are too evolved, right, probably they don't find you useful for the system. उनको लगता है कि if such people are there, right, they will have tensions in the system, they will create problems in the system. Yes, because we will not accept anything as it is. What to do? So in spite of that, I got calls in the interview में जब मेरे काम आए, then I realized कि भाई what is the problem? Because if I get 20 marks in sociology more, right, I would be somewhere in top 100. But 20 marks less in sociology and almost 70 marks, 60 marks less in interview. Why is that? Then I started thinking, but वो कब सोचना शुरू किया? लास्ट अटेम्प्ट में. उसके पहले मैंने सोचा ही. I thought it's okay. Everybody is preparing. I'm also preparing. See, so the boy who got around 26 marks less than me in the mock test everywhere, he got 77th rank. Punjab cadre, IS. And he used to ask me the doubts regarding PubAd. वो टीचर से नहीं मुझसे पूछता था. तो ये भी एक ड्रॉबैक होता है. किसी को लगता है कि बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे आता है, छोड़ो यार, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस, दैट वॉज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस, प्लस आई वॉज टू आई गॉट टू ऑब्सेस्ड विथ इट, आई शुड हैव रिड्यूस्ड इट। वो भी गलत है, बहुत ज़्यादा ऑब्सेस नहीं होना है। फाइन, यू कैन नॉट नो एवरीथिंग, you cannot understand everything, right? You do not need that also. You cannot become a supercomputer and then give the exam. It is impossible, right? So that is also wrong strategy, being awake at night and then going and writing the mains. Because I didn't get sleep till 4:30. So I thought, okay, why to sleep for 2-3 hours again, utna hi hai, fir jagi raho. So many times I've given the exam while being awake throughout the night. And when it was the second session, then it was very difficult to wake up. So you see, you're writing the mains, such a crucial exam, right? Almost half sleeping. क्या होगा? तो बेवकूफियां तो होगी. So it is a combination of various factors. So you don't worry about the way they can ask design. We know everything. That's not a problem. The only problem is whether you are capable of doing that much effort or not. Effort is not number of hours. Realize it. Right? So if you study 2 hours, but with that sense, right, your speed will multiply over a period of time. क्योंकि तुम्हें समझ जल्दी आने लगेगा ना. तो जैसे ही आपको समझ जल्दी आने लगेगा, आप पढ़ोगे और आप उसको इंटरप्रेट करोगे, पढ़ोगे कि ऐसे पूछोगे, ऐसे पूछो, ऐसे पूछो. यही चाहिए. सी, पीपल डोंट डू दैट. They rely only on tests and test series and questions and all that, so that they can have an understanding, right? कौन सा टॉपिक ज्यादा आया, कम आया, वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है, वो टॉपिक आया कैसे, वो इंपॉर्टेंट है ना, कि भाई हाउ आर दे गोइंग टू आस्क यू दैट पर्टिकुलर आइडिया. फाइन, तो लिखो, चलो. इसलिए तुम डोंट वरी, करते रहो. लिखा, ये हेडिंग दिया तुमने? अच्छा, ठीक, फाइन, ओके, राइट. फर्स्ट पॉइंट लिखियो. Right. AFSPA 1958. These are just points which will be used. AFSPA 1958 does not give arbitrary powers. In the bracket, section 3 of AFSPA does not give arbitrary powers, but the power to declare an area as disturbed under AFSPA is not an arbitrary power, but has been misused. Now see, what do we interpret from this? But has been misused. That means the state under certain laws can violate your. अब देखो, जैसे आपने डिस्टर्ब एरिया डिक्लेयर किया, तो आपने किस राइट को रेस्ट्रिक्ट किया? फ्रीडम मूवमेंट, ठीक है, रेजिडेंस, राइट, ट्रेड, प्रोफेशन, इक्वालिटी, उसको भी इंपैक्ट किया. क्यों? क्योंकि बाकी को अलाउड है, तुम्हें अलाउड नहीं है. सो व्हेन यू डिक्लेयर एन एरिया एज डिस्टर्ब्ड एरिया अंडर AFSPA section 3, right, it is not an arbitrary power. That means you cannot declare an area as disturbed area as per your will. There has to be certain conditions. So सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक स्टेटमेंट दिया, ठीक है. यूपीसी क्या करती है, जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स होते हैं उसमें जो स्टेटमेंट्स दिए जाते हैं वो उठा के वो वहां पे लगा देते हैं, right, just to make sure it is complicated, because obviously भाई लक्ष्मीकांत is giving you factual information, right? अब कोई सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट या जज का स्टेटमेंट उठा के तो नहीं यूज करेगा. एक स्टूडेंट इतना नहीं पढ़ सकता ना, उसकी लिमिटेशन है. Fine, so they use this idea कि भाई under this is this now right? See, so it is not mentioned anywhere, but it is a judicial interpretation. That is how they can make it complicated, right? जैसा बोले भाई same sex marriages are allowed in India? No. Same sex relations are allowed in India? Yes. See, now that is the logic of understanding things. So 377 has been criminalized या decriminalized? Decriminalized, right? But that does not mean that 377 has made those people LGBTIQ plus, right, equivalent to you. Why? Because they're not allowed to marry.
Before 377,
Now it is decriminalized, no? 377 यार, अंदर which judgment, जो judgment है सुप्रीम कोर्ट का. Fine. तो ये तो obvious है कि see, when it was criminalized, right, having a relationship with the same sex person was treated as illegal. Relationship in any form, right? Mostly, even if you say that there is no physical relationship, but that is only a kind of affection or romantic relationship. That was also considered to be illegal because people could complain that by this person is having this kind of affair, it's against the morality of the society. So even though people were having it, right, they were not publicly displaying it. Understand? Public display, private relations were already there. Public display was not accepted, right? Social acceptance was not there. Now it is there. Even if social acceptance is not there, right? Legally, the public display is allowed now. People can live in relationship. They can have live-in. If tomorrow government says or Supreme Court agrees that live-in, Supreme Court has already agreed to that. Bombay High Court has already given a judgment on that. Live-in is equivalent to marriage, right? But marriage is a pure consequence of personal law. तो मैरिज का नहीं, हिंदू मैरिज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, मुस्लिम मैरिज, क्रिश्चियन मैरिज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, हिंदू मैरिज नहीं है, ठीक है? हिंदू मैरिज जो है सैक्रोसैंक्ट है, इट्स नॉट अ लीगल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मेरे भाई। नहीं ले आना न्यूज़पेपर, किसने लिखा है? इम्पॉसिबल है। हिंदू मैरिज का बेसिस ही वही है कि वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, राइट? जब वो इंडियन मैरिज एक्ट या स्पेशल मैरिज एक्ट 1927 है, 37, अगर वो उसमें जाएगा तो वो एक तरह से लीगल हो जाएगा, राइट? अदरवाइज इट इज लीगल बट इट इज सोशली लीगलाइज्ड। फाइन। तो जब भी मुस्लिम मैरिज होता है तो उसमें एक रकम महर होती है जो एलिमनी के लिए यूज होती है बाद में, राइट? या एक तरह से कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल अमाउंट होता है which is husband promises to the, yes, that does not happen in Hindu marriage, right? Then there is prenuptial agreements in Christian marriages, वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, ठीक है? हिंदू बेटा ऐसा मत बोलो, है ना? हिंदू ही हो ना, तो इतनी बेवकूफी की बात मत बोलो। हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट या हिंदू मैरिज इज नेवर ट्रीटेड एज अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड दैट इज द बेसिस ऑफ 7 लाइव्स, है ना? इसलिए सोच के करना शादी, राइट? वरना एक लाइफ तो बर्बाद होगी, बाकी भी हो जाएगी, उसकी भी तुम्हारी भी। तो तभी वो सेंस है डिवाइन मैरिज, ठीक है? 7 लाइव्स के लिए मैरिज, दैट इज द आइडिया। इफ देयर वाज द कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल नेचर देन देयर वुड बी लॉट ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन अवेलेबल टू बोथ। दैट इज व्हाई यू विल फाइंड इवन इफ डिवोर्सेस आर राइजिंग, ठीक है? अभी ट्रेंड हुआ है लास्ट 15 ईयर्स से, जनरली हिंदू सोशल ऑर्डर में डिवोर्सेस बहुत कम थे, ओनली अर्बन एरियाज में होते थे, नॉर्मली बहुत कम थे रिलेटिव टू पॉपुलेशन। Even if people say they are rising, why? When you take the entire population, it's not rising. If you take the ratio of the married and the divorce, right, that ratio is very small. Why? Because it is sacrosanct. उसको ऐसे लेजिटिमाइज किया जाता है कि कोई उसको तोड़ने की कोशिश नहीं कर सकता। इसलिए वो सब लॉ भी थे भाई, अडल्ट्री और ये, ठीक है? नाउ दे हैव मॉडिफाइड अ लॉट, राइट? So idea is that tomorrow, see, if the, like we were talking about, see, 377, so it is criminalized, or it was criminalized under IPC, right? But once the judgment has come, obviously it is decriminalized, right? So whenever the government exercises power, like for AFSPA is an example, that if a power is exercised under special law like AFSPA, then also you cannot violate the freedom. So courts have observed that declaring an area as disturbed area under AFSPA is not an arbitrary power. That means two things are concluded from this. One, the government has the power to declare an area as disturbed area. Fine, but government cannot do it as per its own will. There has to be ground for that. So you can get a statement. The power under AFSPA 1958 or the AFSPA Act, right, to declare an area as disturbed area is violation of the fundamental rights of or fundamental freedom. Correct? Fine, है ना violative? क्यों? क्योंकि एक्सेप्ट किया गया कि भाई तुम आर्बिट्रेरी नहीं कर सकते। Fine, but अगर एक स्टेटमेंट ऐसे आता है कि the disturbed area declared under AFSPA, fine, are legitimate in nature. They are. Fine, they are constitutionally mandated. तब of parliament, right? But when you say that something is directly or indirectly mandated, that is not there, no? It's not mentioned there. It is constitutionally mandated. क्यों? क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट किसी न किसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन के अंडर ही तो लॉ बना रही है। प्रिवेंटिव डिटेंशन मेंशन है ना आर्टिकल 22 में, है कि नहीं? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली मैंडेटेड कि तुम बना सकते हो, तभी तो प्रोटेक्शन चाहिए उससे। इफ इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस यू आर नॉट एबल टू मेक इट, व्हाई द नीड फॉर प्रोटेक्शन? दैट मींस गवर्नमेंट इज capable of making it, or government will make it. That means making a preventive detention law is not at all unconstitutional. Are you getting? But the provisions of the preventive detention law and not following the procedures under the Article 22, that is violative of the Constitution. ठीक है? Related with 356, we'll talk about it. Don't worry, Pooja. Right? The kind of federal relations which are going on. One nation, one election. Violation है फेडरलिज्म का, फैक्ट है, बिल्कुल है, बट ऑन सर्टेन ग्राउंड्स इट प्रमोट्स फेडरलिज्म आल्सो, That is also logical. And unity is not federalism. Diversity is federalism. Unity कैसे फेडरलिज्म हो जाएगा ये बताओ. So unity in diversity ये फेडरलिज्म है. Fine. So ये फेडरलिज्म को प्रमोट कैसे करता है? देखो उसका रीजन है, स्टेट्स का बहुत सारा जो एक्सपेंस है वो कम हो जाएगा, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के एक्सपेंसेस कम हो जाएंगे, राइट? एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मशीनरी इट्स यूज विल बी ऑप्टिमाइज्ड. Consequently, the center-state financial relations can improve. Indirectly तो promote कर रहा है fiscal federalism, right? Also, you can understand this way कि भाई whenever the elections will be conducted by the state, the paramilitary, the other forces are used by the state who pay for it. Yes, they pay for it. तो ऐसा तो नहीं कि BSF पोस्टेड है किसी स्टेट के बॉर्डर्स पे तो सिर्फ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उसका कॉस्ट बेयर करिए, नहीं, जो भी डे टू डे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट्स है वो तो स्टेट बेयर करती है. वो आपकी रोड यूज कर रहे हैं, लैंड यूज कर रहे हैं, पानी यूज कर रहे हैं, ये यूज कर रहे हैं, वो यूज कर रहे हैं, लॉजिस्टिक्स यूज कर रहे हैं. डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ इम्यूनिटी ऑफ इंस्ट्रूमेंटैलिटी क्या है ये? Red is visible on this? Let's see. Let me change the size of this. Who has the doctrine of immunity? So doctrine of immunity of instrumentalities. What is it, Shatsang? देखो जितने भी टेक्निकल सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, साइंस टेक, ज्योग्राफी, हिस्ट्री, फैक्चुअल टाइप, उसको आप एक सीक्वेंस में ऐसे पढ़ो, राइट? इवन दो सॉल्व सर हैज अ वेरी गुड मेथड, वो भी उसको इंटीग्रेट कर लेंगे, ठीक है? अदरवाइज अदर टॉपिक्स को आप एक सीक्वेंस में पढ़ो, ये होता है, ये होता है, ये होता है, तो राइट? फर्स्ट एक्वायर दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन. हाउ टू मेक सेंस ऑफ दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन विल टेल यू, डोंट वरी. माय लेक्चर्स विल ऑलवेज बी लाइक दैट. यहां से चलेगा, फिर वो इसको ऐड करेगा, फिर वो इसको भी ऐड करेगा, फिर इसको ऐड करेगा, फिर वापस वहीं पे आएगा. तो आपको वो ट्यून रहना है उसके लिए. A vast amount of information cannot be learned in a linear manner just by making you write it, right? 500 pages लिखवा के फायदा क्या है अगर 5 क्वेश्चन ना कर पाओ तो क्या यूज है? तो ये इन्फॉर्मेशन जो मैं दे रहा हूँ, whatever information I'm giving, right, that you have to keep adjoining to what you're reading, right? So when you read everything again, they will make sense कि भाई why it was there. So you might find कि भाई एक statement in the exam is from here and one statement is from there. Okay, that is the way how we can acquire a lot of information in short span of time with understanding. ठीक है, अगर हम एक सीक्वेंस में इंफॉर्मेशन लिखने लगे तो फिर तो 2,000-3,000 पेजेस हो जाएगा खत्म. That is not needed for us. What is this doctrine for? Center has immunity in paying tax or any fee for using state services and vice versa. Correct. So doctrine of immunity of instrumentality says that the instrumentalities, offices, right, residences, official headquarters, right, logistic services, whatever that belongs to union, right, which it is using in a state's territory, is immune from certain taxes, fines, fees. Same way in union territories, in national capital or whatever, wherever the union has more presence, and if the states are using it, then they are protected from it. Understand? That is why you'll find that when a state police goes into another state, right, they have to inform and they can take up the action there also. Otherwise, it would have been restricted, right? If union government is establishing an income tax office in UP or Uttarakhand or wherever, right, then it will be authorized to acquire land. It will not have to pay the market rates for that land. Already a building is created by the state government or owned by the state government. The union government will request them to give them the space for this office, right, which obviously they will construct, but for those purposes, it will be immune from economic, monetary, and other fines and taxes of the state. Not the individuals, but the system. Right? Individuals के ऊपर तो सब imposed है, right? But on the system, that is called doctrine of immunity of instrumentality. Will it get the same sovereign protection as the state, as the union? Yes, it will. So unions entities in state and states entities in union, both are protected vice versa. Fine? Okay, right. So लिखिए next point लिखो. So ये clear है कि भाई, if you get a statement like this, then it is constitutionally mandated. Yes, right? If there is a statement it is statutory, constitutional, then obviously you can say कि भाई it is statutory. If both the options are there, then you will say yes. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल भी है, स्टैट्यूटरी भी है, क्योंकि अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल तो हो ही नहीं सकता, वरना लॉ क्यों बनता? ठीक है, लीगल भी है, यस लीगल भी है। देखिए सेकंड, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन फेवर ऑफ पीपल, discrimination in favor of people, read it properly, in backward areas is reasonable. Now see why we have written this statement. Just to say that people in backward areas may not be backward. Socially they may not be backward. I gave you one example of my friend. Region, right? So is it reasonable? So Supreme Court has accepted that yes, if you declare an area backward, then positively discriminating in favor of those people who are living in backward areas is not unreasonable, right? Cultural and regional, correct? So it is not unreasonable. So it comes under which article? 14, 15, 16. Eh? 14, 15, 16 and even 19. रिजाइड, मूव, ये वो प्रोफेशन, अगर आप वहां जाके रिजाइड भी करते हैं तो आपको बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. You need to have socio and cultural background, right? So imagine that people who are socially elites, culturally elites, but residing in backward regions, would they be given the benefit of reservation or positive discrimination? Yes, yes. वहां पे वो ओवरराइड कर जाता है कि भाई सोशली एंड एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड का मतलब सिर्फ बैकवर्ड है. तो सोशली एंड एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड का मतलब क्या है? रीजन भी अगर बैकवर्ड है तो वी टेक दैट एज द अम्ब्रेला क्राइटेरिया कि भाई जो भी उस रीजन में है सब बैकवर्ड. एंड सी हियर द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ रेजिडेंस, डोमिसाइल कम्स. You reside somewhere. Do you reside permanently? Okay, yes, I reside permanently. How many years? Okay, 10 years. Now, do you have a domicile? Yes. Automatically, you have a domicile, right? You have to get it done by SDM or certificate from registrar. That is fine. But because you're staying somewhere, right, and you have a lot of other identities associated with that, so you can be accepted. Yes, you are a domicile. आपको सिर्फ उसको फॉर्मली बनवाना है. But as a concept, आप acceptable है. Majority in some area may be minority. हाँ, correct. You're right. Fine, we'll talk. Fine. So ये भी एक reasonable classification. लिखिए. Second, this is a very unique statement. Foreigners do not have a fundamental right to obtain Indian citizenship. See how the statements can differ. Do foreigners have a right to obtain citizenship? Yes. Do foreigners have a right to obtain citizenship? Yes. By naturalization, by registration. They have a right. Do they have fundamental right? No. See the difference? That is why this statement I have explicitly mentioned here. When you're reading a statement, try to understand. So, foreigners do not have fundamental right to have citizenship. Okay. But abhi imagine karo ki you are born in this country. Your parents are born in this country. They are citizens when you are born. You automatically become citizen. By birth? By blood? Just solely, just enjoying birth. But by blood to direct, you know, your parents already. Fine. Now, when you are born that way, right, can you say, yes, I have a right to citizenship? Yes, you have. Are you born with all the fundamental rights which any other citizen is born with? You don't have to grow up to have those fundamental rights. You're born with the fundamental rights. तो हम ये मान सकते हैं कि भाई एक सिटीजन जो बाय बर्थ सिटीजन है, right, by blood सिटीजन है, by soil technically सिटीजन है, but blood overrules the soil, right? He has all the fundamental rights. Right? उसको वो भी राइट है कि मुझे अपने फंडामेंटल राइट्स चाहिए. He has that right also, right? And all the rights which are available to anyone else is available to me also. So if I say citizens have fundamental right to have citizenship, yes, by birth fundamentally they have this right. कहीं पे मेंशन नहीं है ये, ठीक है? लेकिन the moment I say right to equality, available, yes. 16 अवेलेबल, यस. ये किसको अवेलेबल है भाई? सिटीजंस को ही अवेलेबल है, पर्संस को तो है नहीं, तो उसको अवेलेबल है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सो इट इज नॉट जस्ट दैट ही इज लायबल टू हैव द राइट्स, ही इज आल्सो लायबल टू हैव दैट स्टेटस सो दैट ही कैन हैव द राइट्स. ठीक है, ये थोड़ा सा कॉन्सेप्चुअल स्टेटमेंट है. सो ही मे नॉट जस्ट एंजॉय द फंडामेंटल राइट्स, ही मे एंजॉय द स्टेटस, yes, to enjoy the fundamental right. So if we use this statement in context of a citizen, right, it will be correct. If citizens have fundamental right to have citizenship, yes, they have, right? But is citizenship a fundamental right? No. ठीक है, अभी सोचो, हाँ, थोड़ा सोचो, टाइम लगेगा क्या सिटीजन्स को फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं? राइट? क्या सिटीजनशिप एक फंडामेंटल राइट है? नहीं। क्यों? क्योंकि इट विल बी गिवन बाय लॉ। कहीं भी फंडामेंटल राइट्स पे मेंशन है सिटीजनशिप? नहीं मेंशन है। लेकिन जहां भी ये मेंशन है, wherever it is mentioned that the rights will be available to citizens. Are you able to understand this? Wherever it is mentioned the right will be available to citizens. Fine? Not persons. Citizens. Whatever be the nature of citizen, it doesn't matter. Available to citizens. Right? So if that person is not a citizen, right? He will not be given the fundamental right. So being treated as a citizen, क्या ये उसका right है? बिल्कुल right है। क्यों? क्योंकि by birth वो citizen है। So even if, try to understand what I'm saying, even if he is not declared legally by any law, by anything, by any certificate, by any document that you are a citizen, still he becomes a citizen automatically. He is a citizen. तो कोई भी अगर फॉरेनर बोलता है कि मुझे सिटीजन के बराबर ट्रीट करो, बोलेंगे नहीं। क्या मुझे फंडामेंटल राइट है? हाँ है। फाइन, बट डू यू हैव द राइट टू एनफोर्स दोस फंडामेंटल राइट्स सेम एज द सिटीजन्स? नो, बिकॉज बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ बीइंग अ सिटीजन उसके पास ज्यादा राइट्स हैं। तो अगर बोलते क्या फंडामेंटल राइट या सिटीजनशिप एक्वायर करना एक फंडामेंटल राइट है? नहीं। राइट? क्या सिटीजनशिप एक्वायर करना एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है? यस। राइट? Do citizens have a fundamental right to be treated as citizens? Yes. The state cannot violate their fundamental right, right? तो उसको बोल, उसका ये कहना कि मैं सिटीजन हूं और मुझे ट्रीट करो वैसा, वो भी उसका फंडामेंटल राइट है। फाइन, दो द सिटीजनशिप मे बी डिफाइंड बाय लॉ, इट्स ओके। सो इफ फॉरेनर्स, yes, after naturalization, see, same rights. It is, try to understand, when we talk about citizenship, apart from birth, try to understand. Right? This you can only understand when you read, let's say, for MP Janvi and Shukla, not just Lakshmikant, right? They will give more facts. So facts more or less sahi hai jo they are giving. But when you think of citizenship apart from birth, जो भी और citizenship है, by registration, by naturalization, right? By descent, and likewise, ठीक है? So yes, so जो भी है, right? So by birth जो है और जो भी other methods है, once you are citizen, you are same. Try to understand. You are same. But the logic is by birth is a consequence of jus soli and jus sanguine. The others are not. Understanding? In our scheme of things of citizenship, the concept of jus soli dominates, jus sanguine dominates everything else. पहले jus soli was dominant, ठीक है? अब जो amendments हुए 83 में, 92 में, 95 में, 2002 में, 2005 में, OCI, PIO, जब ये amendments हुए तो just sanguine dominate कर गया. That means when we treat the other forms of citizenship compared to by birth, by blood, then others cannot be treated at par. क्यों? उनकी conditions ज़्यादा regulate की जा सकती by law, but not of the citizens by birth. So for the law, for the parliament, for the government, all those other categories are treated distinctly from this. So even if Sonia Gandhi can become prime minister, that is true. But in Italy, one cannot become a prime minister by naturalization. In US, one cannot become a prime minister by naturalization. So the argument that was raised when Sonia Gandhi was becoming prime minister, that okay, fine, we allow, right? We allow because we believe that naturalization has led to becoming of you citizen. But that is why, that is what? It is not given by constitution. It is only by the law which was made by the government then. If the law is modified today or tomorrow, then you will not be authorized to become prime minister. So try to understand existing law. So somebody can become prime minister by naturalization is not an absolute fact. Try to understand. It is just a legal provision as of now. तो जब मैं बोलता हूं कि कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो बाय बर्थ सिटीजन है, वो तो एब्सोल्यूट बनेगा ही बनेगा, अनलेस उसके ऊपर कोई क्रिमिनल चार्ज हो, कुछ नो, अदरवाइज तो कोई चीज को रिस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं कर सकती. इवन इफ यू मेक अ लॉ, यू कैन नॉट डू दैट. क्यों? अदरवाइज तो सबको मना करना पड़ेगा. You first understand the logic of analysis, right? So whenever we are regulating citizenship by any other means, by a law, tomorrow, today, day after tomorrow, we can modify it. But can we modify the very status that you enjoy by birth? You cannot modify it. Even if वो law से recognized है, right? तो भी वो एक तरह का आपका natural right हो गया. That is your right by being a part of this country. So tomorrow, if the government wants, it can restrict by naturalization will not become the prime minister or president. और वो बिल्कुल भी वायलेशन ऑफ इक्वालिटी नहीं होगा. क्यों? इक्वल पीपल इन इक्वल सर्कमस्टांसेस. दैट वाज द आइडिया व्हेन वी डिस्कस दैट. कि भाई तभी मैंने बोला थोड़ा वेट कर लो, थोड़ा पहले समझ लो, फिर विल टॉक अबाउट इट. तो नेचुरलाइजेशन, रजिस्ट्रेशन, डिसेंट या जो भी और प्रोसीजर है, ये क्या है? ये रेगुलेटेड बाय लॉज है. If tomorrow laws changes, Citizenship Amendment Act 2005 ने कुछ मॉडिफाई किया, अब Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 या CAA 2024 आ गया फॉर एग्जांपल, then what will happen? They might regulate this provision, but can they regulate people who are by birth a citizen? No, they cannot. So we can always say yes, citizenship by naturalization allows you to become the prime minister, right? But is it an absolute right to enjoy? No, you do not enjoy it. Those who are jailed, even citizens of this country, they may not be, right? Famous case है भाई, लिली थॉमस केस, राइट? तो जिसको भी 2 साल से ज्यादा की पनिशमेंट मिलेगी, राइट, वो ना कंटेस्ट कर पाएगा, ना वो ऑक्यूपाई कर पाएगा पोजीशन. अब ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड these 2 points are very important. Cannot contest, cannot fight the elections, and cannot be appointed. This is a very important provision. Why? Because even if he cannot contest the election, he could be appointed for 6 months, right? He is appointed through this provision. Understand it? That could have violated it. तभी कोर्ट ने बोला कि नहीं, ये भी नहीं और ये भी नहीं. तो ये मैं बोलना चाहता हूं कि when you understand these things, then understand it this way कि भाई naturalization, certification, registration और जो भी descent है, जो भी forms हैं, ये regulated by law है, right? तो ये absolute नहीं है. But somebody, can he demand कि I am a citizen, so I should be allowed to contest the election? Yes, he can, right? If somebody says I am a citizen by naturalization, I should be allowed to contest. Yes, you can. But if we want tomorrow, we'll regulate it. But we cannot regulate a person who is by birth a citizen. फिर तो हमें पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ स्टेट, सोसाइटी, सिटीजनशिप ही चेंज करना पड़ेगा. तो कुछ कंडीशंस हम इंपोज कर सकते हैं, ठीक है जी. दैट इज वेरी यूनिक थिंग. सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज सेड कि भाई आप जो है, चलो इसको, यू डोंट अलाउ सर्टेन थिंग्स टू हिम. पर्सन इज जेल्ड, he may not enjoy his fundamental rights, but does he abstain from being a citizen? No, he is a citizen. Can you stop the rights that he enjoys as a citizen? You cannot. You can restrict certain things by the circumstances, but आप कर सकते हो, आप नहीं कर सकते. सही. बट जिसका रजिस्ट्रेशन से सिटीजनशिप हो, गवर्नमेंट बोलेगी हाँ भाई रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल हो गया, राइट? बट जिसका बाय बर्थ है, बाय नेचुरल उसका जो राइट है, वो आप कैसे डिनाई कर दोगे? नहीं कर सकते. You can only put a law and say कि भाई those people who are convicted of heinous crimes, this crime, they may not get the benefit of citizenship, right? But that will also be challenged in the court of law because that is also not possible. ठीक है, क्यों? बिल्कुल, उसके बहुत सारे नेचुरल राइट्स हैं, you cannot deny them, fine, but you don't get into that analysis. As of now, you can simply understand कि भाई क्या citizenship acquire करना fundamental right है? नहीं. Constitutional right है? Yes. Legal right है? Yes. Foreigners के पास ये fundamental right है? नहीं. गवर्नमेंट उनको डिनाई भी कर सकती है और दे भी सकती है. बाय बर्थ जो लोग सिटीजन्स हैं, राइट, ऑब्वियसली दैट इज देयर नेचुरल राइट. यू कैन नॉट डिनाई देम. यू कैन रेस्ट्रिक्ट देम, यू कैन नॉट डिनाई देम. करेक्ट. आगे बढ़िए. सेक्शन लिखिए 197 ऑफ सीआरपीसी. 197 of CRPC. Within quotes you write, now revoked. What is 197 of CRPC? Okay. Where public servants were given special protection against criminal charges or prosecution has now been diluted and treated as violation of Article 14 by the court, by the Supreme Court. By the Supreme Court. Now see, under CRPC 197, what was happening? That certain public servants, right, were enjoying the protection from prosecution. In fact, most of the public servants. हाँ बिल्कुल, लेकिन केस लाइबिलिटी को डिनाई नहीं किया जा रहा है. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. बट इफ अ पर्सन, पब्लिक, नॉर्मल सिटीजन और एनीवन हु वांट्स टू इनिशिएट केस अगेंस्ट देम, proceedings against them, they were protected by the government. How they were protected? So there was a provision of taking permission from the government, and then only you can proceed. So if a vigilance agency, anti-corruption agency wanted to proceed with a case against a corrupt official, it had to take a permission from the government, state government or union government, depending upon where that person is posted. right? That was CRPC 197. Right? अब उसमें एक provision था that people above the joint secretary, above the level of joint secretary and above, right, they will get special protection. ये कोर्ट ने हटा दिया. So कोर्ट ने बोला या तो सबको प्रोटेक्शन दो, all the public servants, all class of public servants, there should be no discrimination, right? Or don't give protection to anyone. अब now the question arises कि भाई इस CRPC 197 which provides special protection to the public servants, is it violative of Article 14? Yes. पहला, ठीक है. दूसरा, the constitutional provisions under Article 308 to 323, where special privileges are available to public servant. 308 to 323, where special provisions are available to public servants. In the bracket you can write Part 14 oblique Part 14A. Part 14 deals with civil servants, protection of civil servants, and Part 14A deals with tribunals, administrative tribunals. So 308 to 323, comma 323A, 323B. 23A, 323B. These are related to administrative tribunals. Fine. So if you see this way, then now there are constitutional provisions which provide protection to civil servants. Why it provides protection to civil servants? So that there should be fairness, lack of politicization, and all those things. Is it just and fair? Yes, it is just and fair. Fine. But excessive power enjoying under CRPC 197 was not fair. अब क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में, the constitutional provisions under Part 14 with respect to the public servants or civil servants of the union or state or otherwise, right, enjoying special protections or special privileges, does it violate Article 14 or violates Article 14? No, it does not. Kyun? Because it is a example of reasonable and fair procedure. See, I'm trying to orient you to the nature of statements which are now asked in the exam. First, you understand. First, we know the basic article. Then we know कि what can be the undercurrents in these articles. अब वो पूछेंगे कैसे इसको? सीधे थोड़ा पूछेंगे Article 14 ये होता है. They will ask it like this, right? So when you say CRPC 197, yes, against equality, violates that, unfair treatment is provided. Fine. क्यों? क्योंकि वहां पे वो गलत कर रहा है. He's been convicted of a crime. He's been convicted of corruption, right? Then you are giving the protection not fair. In general, 308 to 323, right? This is giving protection for his proper functioning, for the constructive role of the civil services, not because he has done something wrong. Are you able to understand? So equality, right? Yeah, freedom of speech, isko they will manipulate it in the form of statements and then they will ask. तभी वो specific information पूछते हैं ना कि भाई ये ऐसा है क्या? Right? So now, are you able to understand कि भाई public servants, civil servants do not enjoy the similar freedom. Yeah, yes, definitely, but they do not enjoy the similar freedoms. Why? Because they have now, or they will be treated now as a special case of Article 14. But without understanding 14, you cannot understand in 19 also. Try to understand. So when you say कि our civil services is public services, एक statement आता है, ठीक है? आपके एग्जाम में कि क्या public services, right? Can we treat public services, right, as a special basis of classification? ट्रीट किया जाता है, माना जा सकता है, बिल्कुल माना जा सकता है. क्यों? Yes, special basis of classification. Now you can distinguish civil servants from non-civil servants or not. तो क्या civil services एक special basis हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? Public service हुआ कि नहीं एक special basis? Fine, you are able to understand this. So if I say कि this classification does not violate 14, in fact it derives itself from Article 14. Yes, now you are beginning smart, you know.
In Article 14, they have mentioned like special
Circumstance. No. Article 14 talks about the circumstance. Right? Circumstance here would mean the treatment of equals as equals, unequals as unequals. Equals as equals and unequals as unequals. Why? ये फैक्ट है, ये समझ में आया, ठीक है? नाउ सी, इट इज ऑब्वियस कि भाई whenever you are talking about article 14 or 16 or 19, right, you have to obviously identify कि your base or your basis is legitimate. So when public servants say that we should enjoy the same right as the citizens, not correct. Why? Because you're already enjoying more privilege than the citizen. Are you able to understand? अब इस पे क्या बन सकता है? Assertion, reasoning.
In legal framework, you could be equal. In proportional equality, you can't be.
No, but see, obviously you can be treated equal as citizens. But when it comes to the special case of enjoying power, authority, position,
Law of fact.
you can say that you may not be treated as equal. So this may lead to assertion reasoning. Assertion reasoning, right?
It will.
Citizens enjoying more power or citizens' right of freedom of speech and expression, which the public servant is much more enhanced, is much more qualified. Reasoning. The public services provide a special circumstance or basis of reasonable classification. सही है कि नहीं? सही है. Reasoning.
But it is not fair.
No, it is correct reasoning. हाँ, देखो.
Sir, जैसे हमने पढ़ा था freedom of speech में तो public servant have the least amount of power.
Don't say least, but power in what sense? Least freedom. No.
Speech and expression में तो least. तो it is
Citizens और मीडिया का सेम है, ठीक है? पॉलिटिकल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स का ज्यादा है, और पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स और मिलिट्री और इनका रेस्ट्रिक्टेड है.
but in terms of exercising of the power.
What power? They have authority, legal authority है ना. बोलने की अथॉरिटी तो ना, बोलने की अथॉरिटी अलग होगी ना. Of executing and implementing authority is different, right? I'm saying. So when you say कि भाई are public servants treated at par with the citizens in terms of freedom of speech and expression? No.
So can you say this under Article 14 less freedom? Under
You don't say less freedom. See, you always use the word special circumstance. They are treated as a different category from the citizens. ये आप समझ गए? तो अगर वो डिफरेंट कैटेगरी हैं, तो जो फंडामेंटल राइट या स्पीच ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है, मूवमेंट है, व्हाटएवर है, वो उनके ऊपर अलग से ऐड होगा. सोशल मीडिया रूल्स, आईटी एक्ट 2021, राइट, एंड 2001, सॉरी, फिर 2021 अमेंडमेंट जो हुआ. So try to understand that if I say that public servants or civil servants freedom of speech and expression is restricted, ये स्टेटमेंट सही है. अगर मैं उसमें और भी आगे ऐड करता हूं is restricted in comparison to the citizens, वो भी सही है. It is restricted in with respect to the members of parliament and legislative assemblies, वो भी सही है. Understanding? Because public servant or civil servant or administration is a separate class, separate classification from political system. Fine? ये ठीक है. So if the question on people in government, right? People in government, are their freedom of speech or their powers of expression are restricted by the constitution or by special provisions made under the constitution, right? Yes. तो यहाँ freedom from government or freedom of people in the government, it may mean both political and administrative, but still the statement is correct. क्यों? क्योंकि वो administrative भी तो है.
But in government, mostly these legislative or executive are placed major.
No, but that's okay. Government also includes administration. It's very clear.
But first role is legislative power.
But partly, if partly it is correct, it is correct. It is subset of the, fine. So if it is not mentioned separately, कि भाई political and administrative, and it says government, you can say yes, it is restricted. If it says कि भाई now if it becomes more clear, more specialized, political part of the government,
Under government, in government, it is
oh, it's okay. Under in government चलो मान लो उतना हम accept कर लेते हैं, right? क्योंकि important thing is what is the subject, right? What is the actual content of the statement? That is more important, no? तो इन अंडर विद इन ये सब तब इंपॉर्टेंस होगा कि कंटेंट, सब्सटैंटिव कंटेंट क्या है, राइट? बट अगर सब्सटैंटिव कंटेंट इज गिविंग द सेंस दैट वी अंडरस्टैंड, दैट वी वांट टू नो, देन इट इज एक्सेप्टेबल कि ओके फाइन, राइट? तो सिविल सर्वेंट की जो पावर है एक्सप्रेशन की, वो रिस्ट्रिक्टेड है, ये आपको एक्सेप्ट करना, ठीक है? आर्टिकल जैसे 31 रिपील्ड राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी, 31 A B C related to the 9th schedule, related to the 39 B and C of the DPSP, right? Then 33 with respect to special forces, with respect to military, right? 34 martial law in operation hai, and likewise. See, so when you look at these provisions, these are also exception to fundamental rights. So can you say the rights of civil servants, including military officials, is restricted, right? Is not equal to the fundamental rights of the citizen? Yes, you will accept.
first can't be restricted.
Hmm?
Under
हाँ.
first can't be restricted.
imposition of fundamental rights, imposition of restrictions or regulation of fundamental rights, right? When you say martial law, किसके fundamental rights नहीं restrict हो सकते? लोगों के ना, हम military officers की बात कर रहे हैं मेरे भाई. We are talking about officials. उनके भी तो rights होंगे. See, you're not getting the point. That are we also talking about rights of military, right? Rights of civil servants and military. We are talking about that. 33, 34. So regulation of fundamental right while martial law is in operation. 34, ठीक है? And restriction on fundamental rights of the military officers. 33, right? Both are necessary to understand. कि whether military officials enjoy the similar rights as the citizens? No. That is what we are trying to say, right? So when martial law is in operation, obviously how this will be regulated, right? How fundamental rights will be regulated, right? That will be decided. So there also the military does not enjoy arbitrary power. See, right? Try to understand. That is why we wrote that AFSPA. कि अगर AFSPA भी है, तो arbitrary नहीं है power to declare. Right? So even if try to understand that even if there is a martial law, right? There is a curfew. There are certain other that technically the power has been taken from civil to military for time being, right? Then also the fundamental rights remain in operation, right? Then also your fundamental rights cannot be curtailed. 20 and 21 cannot be curtailed in emergency also, right? 19 cannot be curtailed under internal emergency. External में वो restrict हो सकता है, internal में नहीं हो सकता. On what ground can we impose emergency? Presidential order से, right? Automatically नहीं बोलते उसको. Presidential order, but yes, you say it is, yes, it is eclipsed for some time. Right? अब उसमें भी there is a analysis in that कि whether the right is exhausted or the right to move the court is exhausted. अभी हमने शुरू में कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा था फंडामेंटल राइट स्टेट से नहीं आता है, तो क्या स्टेट एग्जॉस्ट कर सकता है? कभी नहीं कर सकता. वॉट एवर हैपन्स, मिलिट्री, नॉन मिलिट्री, इमरजेंसी, नॉन इमरजेंसी, डजंट मैटर, द राइट्स नेवर गेट एग्जॉस्टेड. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? द फ्रीडम टू यूज दोज राइट्स कैन बी रिस्ट्रिक्टेड. तो क्या आप बोल सकते हैं कि आप घर में हो, आपको फंडामेंटल राइट ऑफ मूवमेंट नहीं है? भाई मैं जाऊंगा बाथरूम, किचन जाऊंगा, ड्राइंग रूम में आऊंगा, फिर जाऊंगा, हाउ कैन यू स्टॉप दैट? The movement has to be taken in the broadest possible sense. No? You do not have freedom to speak, and so I will speak. I will make blogs. I will do something. You cannot stop me. Can you stop me from speaking to myself? So try to understand. Can anybody absolutely restrict that? Nobody can do that. That's why I say the rights don't get restricted. Right? The use of the rights get restricted. Understanding? It's like the same thing. कि भाई, you cannot spend your money because the shops are closed. Right? But do you have money or not? Yes, I have the money. मेरे पास राइट है, फाइन, लेकिन कर्फ्यू लगा मैं कहां जाऊं? लेकिन मेरे पास राइट है, मैं जा सकता हूं. बट सर्कमस्टांस ऐसे कि आई कैन नॉट एक्सरसाइज द राइट. बट कैन एनी गवर्नमेंट से कि नो नो यू डोंट हैव राइट टू स्पीक? नो, यू कैन नॉट स्पीक. दैट विल नॉट हैपन. It can say that, okay, don't speak wrong things. It'll say it's okay, I'll not speak wrong things, but I'll speak. So see, that is why fundamental rights character is like that. If you get a statement कि can fundamental rights per se, जैसे हम ये word use करते हैं ना, statement का meaning change होता है. So when you say can fundamental rights per se, as it is, क्या fundamental rights can they be eliminated? Can they be revoked? Can they be restricted? No. Can the state take away? लिख दो, चलो per se exhausted. Can the fundamental rights per se be taken away by the state? Right? Can it be restricted by the state? नहीं भैया. The moment the word per se comes, it cannot be. ऐसा तो फंडामेंटल राइट का कॉन्सेप्ट ही पूरा जो है स्टेट उसको एक्लिप्स कर दे, बोले ठीक है अभी नहीं है, बाद में लेना. That cannot happen. It never gets exhausted. It never gets waived. It never gets transferred. Transferable भी नहीं है, waived भी नहीं है, restricted भी नहीं है, right? Right? So simply we can say that certain impositions can be done on fundamental rights. So fundamental right per se does not go away. What goes away is the implementation, is the usage. Right as it is intact है. Right को कोई नहीं ले सकता क्योंकि वो right उसके पास है ही नहीं वो right लेने का. And after Keshwaran Bharti case तो वैसे भी नहीं है. It's a basic structure. right? But what will be the content and nature? Yes, they can modify, upgrade, increase. Generally, it is in the nature of increasing the rights, right? Not restricting the rights. Fine. Is this understood? No. Right. Within this, you write where we are writing. The way Article 14, a classification of civil services can be done reasonable. Yes, it can be done. Right now, right. Article 14 not only restricts substantial discrimination, but also procedural discrimination. Substantial discrimination, but also procedural discrimination. Okay, try to understand. What does it mean?
The purpose of that discrimination is discrimination is like public item.
Criminal offenses can be screened by the law and offenses.
Correct, but see,
It is by the other citizen.
just now we have written Article 14, or before also we have written Article 14 talks about equality. Try to understand. Equality before law. Right? Equality before law means what? You know that.
Everyone should be.
But let us understand it in micro manner. Equality before law का मतलब कि ये जो law है, law क्या है? For example, RTI. Correct. Yes. Let us understand this way. Law है RTI Act. Let's say what is the substantial aspect of this law? To get the information. Fine. Get the information. ये information मिलेगी सबको क्योंकि law लिखा हुआ है. Try to understand. Law, on the face of it, means the law content. यही है ना? Content of law. This content of law should also be provided in a manner in which it is decided or not. ठीक है? अब उसको please try to focus on the concept. Right? जो means है, जो manner है, वो भी allowed है, वो भी वही होना चाहिए. कैसा होना चाहिए? Fair होना चाहिए, equitable होना चाहिए, equal होना चाहिए. It is not necessary or it is not possible that you can access the information through other method and somebody else will access it through other method, except कि भाई digital office का यही method उसको, right? उसको information को पाने का procedure भी तो सबके लिए same है, वो तो अलग अलग नहीं है ना भाई, कोई special privilege तो नहीं है किसी के लिए, fine? तो law same, law के implementation का तरीका same, fine? ठीक है. अब law के बनने का procedure, right? Is it same? अरे ये लॉ और कोई और लॉ क्या वो सेम प्रोसीजर से बनेंगे?
No, sir.
क्यों नहीं बनेंगे? सेम सिस्टम से बनेंगे?
System changes, sir, but depending upon that.
Oh, correct. That's okay. I understand. Content ये एक ऑर्डिनेंस से बन गया, किससे बन गया, किससे बन गया. Fine. But the entire process of making the law, will it be same? Can you say? Try to understand what it is saying. Can we say? Now I'm coming to the description. Can we say कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर के पास पावर एक लॉ बनाने की, उसने लॉ बना दिया. फाइन. लेजिस्लेचर के पास पावर एक लॉ बनाने की, उसने लॉ बना दिया. ठीक है. एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर का लॉ और लेजिस्लेचर का लॉ सेम है, कंटेंट में सेम है, प्रोसीजर सेम नहीं है ना. सो व्हेन यू से कि माय राइट टू इक्वालिटी, माय दिस हैज बीन टेकन अवे बाय अ लॉ, राइट, व्हिच वाज नॉट मेड बाय द कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी, तो विल यू नॉट बी प्रोटेक्टेड? यू विल बी प्रोटेक्टेड. वो इक्वालिटी तो डील की जाएगी ना. कोई बोलेगी कि भाई मुझे उस लॉ से प्रोसिक्यूट किया गया है, I've been prosecuted with the law which was made by the administration, right? And my friend has been prosecuted by a law, same law, when it was modified by the legislature. उस टाइम पे लेजिस्लेचर नहीं था, तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने ऑर्डिनेंस बनाया, मुझे पकड़ लिया. बाद में लेजिस्लेचर ने उसको अप्रूव कर दिया, उसी लॉ को. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो ऑर्डिनेंस जब एक्ट बन गया तो क्या ये दोनों सेम प्रोसीजर है? नहीं है ना, नहीं है ना. तो जो ऑर्डिनेंस से प्रोसिक्यूट किया गया और जो स्टैट्यूटरी एक्ट से प्रोसिक्यूट, दोनों सेम होंगे? नहीं होंगे ना. फॉर मी, इवन इफ ऑर्डिनेंस इज अ लॉ अंडर द डेफिनेशन, राइट, इट्स एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्ट, इट्स एन एग्जीक्यूटिव एक्ट. स्टैट्यूट इज अ लेजिस्लेटिव एक्ट और नॉट? सी द डिफरेंस. तो ये बोलता है कि आर्टिकल 14 आपको इक्वालिटी किससे किससे देता है? वो जो लॉ है उससे, लॉ का जो एग्जीक्यूशन है उससे, या लॉ बनाने का जो प्रोसेस है उससे भी देता है, उससे भी देता है. सी व्हाई? अंडरस्टैंड इन अ वेरी सिंपल मैनर that whenever you go to an administrative tribunal or a quasi judicial court and you get a judgment, then you go and appeal to the court. Why? क्यों? क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली तो ये माना जाता है कि there is a common law system और हर अपील will lie to the court. Ultimately it should go to the court. Why? Because there the basis of evaluation will be same.
They start from the point.
हाँ, तो कोई जजमेंट अगर ट्रिब्यूनल में आ गया, किसी को जजमेंट ट्रिब्यूनल से मिला और किसी को जजमेंट कोर्ट से मिला, तो ये डिफरेंस हो जाएगा प्रोसेस का. Right? If you are able to understand, it is fine. Otherwise, it's okay. So Article 14 says that procedure that you follow must also be legitimate and equitable, equal, fair for everyone. Right? आप टेररिस्ट के लिए अलग प्रोसीजर यूज नहीं कर सकते और कॉमन आदमी के लिए अलग प्रोसीजर यूज नहीं कर सकते. चलो अंडरस्टैंड इट दिस वे. राइट? हर क्लास ऑफ सिटीजन के लिए प्रोसीजर्स आपके फेयर होंगे, क्लियर होंगे. राइट? कंटेंट ऑफ द लॉ, सब्सटैंटिव नेचर ऑफ द लॉ, वो भी फेयर होगा. Implementation का तरीका वो भी फेयर होगा. So why we have written this statement? Just to understand whether the equality talks or equality before law or equality talks only about the content of law, right, or objective of law, or also the method and process by which law has been made. That is also protected or not? That is also protected. So if you get a statement, ठीक है, आपको सिर्फ क्या करना है, ज्यादा दिमाग मत लगाओ. What you have to do is to think. If the question comes, statement comes, article protects the substantive nature of law, or Article 14 provides equality in terms of substantive nature of law or substance of law. Yes. Article 14 does not provide the equality with respect to procedure of law. Incorrect. Because it provides for procedure of law. This you can understand? बस इतना ही चाहिए. Fine, ठीक है. Then within this you write. अरे चलो लिखो. हर समय डाउट ही है क्या तुम्हें? लिखो. No one can claim. Underline this. See, right. No one can claim. Underline this. Legality in illegality. You try to understand this line. No one can claim legality in illegality. Now you say. Why not? Yes, correct.
1950,
The law.
the law under 1992.
1992.
1992, there are two acts they told before the act was okay, and after that.
Now that how? Right? So they are saying we were tried under that act.
But both have done on the same procedure.
No. See, try to understand how you cannot just give examples specifically. Try to understand that law was made by a correct procedure. Fine. The substance of the law was not corrected, was not accepted to be right now after the Supreme Court views, after many other views. 2018-19 when they modify it, right, or 2002 or 10 onwards, right, for example. 2002 का law था, sorry, and then 2014-15 में modify कर दिया, right? So try to understand when you are saying that this person were convicted in that law, right? In that law, that was not wrong. Fine. But when we have modified the law and when the act was committed, right? So we cannot say retrospective effect होगा. पहले तो ये समझ लो. What they are trying to say, what the court has said, first understand that court is saying that if you have given respite to or remission to these people under some law made in 2002, 3 or whatever, right? आपने लॉ बना दिया, वहां पे आपने रेमिशन दिया क्योंकि एक्ट हुआ तभी, उसके पहले जो भी लॉ था उसके अंडर आपने उनको रेमिशन दे दिया, right? But you have hidden the fact from us. The facts were hidden from the court. That was the reason. When you apply that law, then also in that law, the heinous crime, the serious crimes committed, they were not allowed to be given remission. ये fact court से छुपाया गया.
Will be on the state.
See, the court takes leniency when a person has already gone through a specific number of years. उन्होंने 14 साल तो already काट लिए थे, तो court lenient view लिया court ने ना. And try to understand, court does not look into matters this way. That is the problem. Obviously, you cannot learn law to write UPSC first of all, so you don't need to know that much first, right? But when you understand, when you try to understand how court takes the view, whenever you file a petition on the court, right, you write, or your petition seeks one particular problem only. That time the question was whether these people should be given remission or not. ये तो क्वेश्चन ही नहीं था कि इनको छोड़ना या इनको जिस लॉ के बेसिस पे कन्विक्ट किया गया या छोड़ा जा रहा है वो सही है कि नहीं है, राइट? देयर वाज नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ इवैल्यूएटिंग दैट लॉ. देयर वाज ओनली द क्वेश्चन ऑफ जुरिसडिक्शन कि गुजरात विल डू इट और महाराष्ट्र विल डू इट. इस जुरिसडिक्शन को कोर्ट ने डिसाइड कर दिया कि भाई तुम कर लो, 90 डेज के अंदर यू शुड डिसाइड. भाई देयर वाज नो इशू ऑफ इंटरप्रेटिंग द लॉ अगेन. कोर्ट डज नॉट वर्क दैट वे. राइट? सर ये हाई स्कूल देखिए सर, मेरे हाई स्कूल में मार्क्स कितने सर, इतने 65%, राइट? बट मेरे फर्स्ट में 95 थे, थर्ड में 98 थे, मैं बचपन से बहुत अच्छा पढ़ा। कोर्ट को कोई मतलब नहीं, बोलेगा ठीक है 65% है, वेरीफाई कर दे 65 को। टू रिव्यू फर्स्ट टू 9th, अब एक अलग पिटीशन फाइल करो, इतना टाइम थोड़ा उनके पास, राइट? सो देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड, whenever courts give the judgment, right, there is something called obiter dicta, right? Obiter dicta and res judicata, and this you have to know for prelims. So obiter dicta is the periphery, circumference. Peripheral or circumferential remarks made by the court in a judgment. Fine. So you know judges जो है वो शेर सुनाते हैं, शायरी सुनाते हैं. There are a lot of judges who are Chandrachud, Deepak Mishra. There were certain judges, और भी बहुत सारे judges थे जो they were very creative people, and they were fine because their work is obviously of such nature that they have to be humorous and creative. Right? नहीं वैसे भी in general they have to. It's a very high stressful job. Right? तो उनके पास बहुत judges बहुत intelligent होते हैं, तो वो उसको ऐसे present करते हैं. So there are a lot of remarks, right? For example, if they had taken up the Vishakha case versus state of Rajasthan, in that case they were specifically looking at Vishakha issue, but they gave a peripheral remark that fine, the women should be protected at workplace. For this we are giving the directive. Now directive is not circumference. Directive was an instruction given by the court, but it gave the remark that yes, the workplaces are not safe for women. This remark itself created a kind of consciousness. The government was indirectly given a hint कि भाई look into it, क्योंकि वो main part of judgment नहीं है. Judgment is executable, enforceable, right? The remarks are not. Fine, are you understanding? तो जो remarks हैं वो भी important है court के, क्योंकि court का अगर observation है, that means it has some relevance. Are you understanding? Yeah, later on a new case can be filed on that logic. It's okay. But that is not the issue in the case as of now. But it is a passing remark, it is a circumferential, it is not part of the main judgment. This is the judgment. Right? So likewise you can say obiter dicta or res judicata. So every judgment is based on that. Every judgment can have two parts, right? Then ratio decidendi. What is it? Even C can be used. Decision से related है, S भी use होता है.
Introducing the Prelims Target course and Prelims Test Series at Prodigy IAS. Designed for UPSC Prelims 2026, this comprehensive program offers in-depth classes on history, geography, science and tech, environment, polity and governance, and economy. Stay updated with current affairs and sharpen your skills with our Prelims Test Series consisting of 50 full-length tests covering all subjects along with CSAT. Join Prodigy IAS and stay ahead.